Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is finally in theaters, so let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name is Jesse and welcome to Film Talks, the channel where I love to talk about all things movies and TV. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was my most anticipated movie of 2023 and it is finally in theaters. So today I'm going to give you my non-spoiler review on this movie. If you haven't seen the movie, don't worry, I won't be spoiling anything. This is just my pretty much overall general thoughts on the film, and then I'm going to do a spoiler review that will come out in a couple days, so if you have seen the movie, you can go watch that after this. For right now, let's just get started with my non-spoiler thoughts. So I'm just going to say it right off the bat, the animation in this movie is truly stunning and so beautiful to look at. I thought that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was some of the best animation that I've seen, and it still really is some of the best animation that I've seen, and it's still one of my favorite animated movies of all time. But Across the Spider-Verse took it and just dialed it up to 11 different animation styles and different colors. It's really, really impressive what they were able to do with this film, and you see it right off the bat starting from the first scene. There's different styles of animation and different looks and textures and colors and different worlds, and it's just really, really cool to look at, and it doesn't feel jarring or incohesive. It works really well and it does feel cohesive, and it honestly is really amazing to look at. I think this is the most stunning animated movie that I have ever seen in theaters, and this is a movie where I want to go through it frame by frame and hang it up on my walls and everything. Like, every frame of this movie looks like something that should be on a poster, because all of the colors and animation are just so visually amazing and are so cool to look at. It's mesmerizing at times, it really is, and as soon as the lights dim in the theater, as soon as the first second of the movie starts, you are hooked from beginning to end, and you don't want to look away. I thought there are just so many, like I said, there's so many different animation styles, and with different characters having their own style. So that's what I'll talk about next. Is there are a lot of really great characters in this movie. Miles gets a lot more development in this movie, which is great. We get the kind of sequel cliche, specifically in Spider-Man movies, of him struggling to balance his Spider-Man life and his school and home life, and sometimes Spider-Man life gets in the way of school life, and he has to lie to his parents, and he's not really on time to everything, and it's great to see Miles get more development in this movie. We get a lot more of Gwen in this movie, and honestly, after seeing this movie, Gwen is probably one of, if not my favorite, Spider-Man variants in these animated movies. She gets a lot more development, and we see a lot more of her story in this movie. I'm not going to go into detail here. I'll go more into detail on that in my spoiler review, but we see her backstory fully kind of fleshed out in this movie, and it's really sad, but it's really cool to see, because now we understand where her character is coming from, and yeah, we see like why she kept saying in the first film why she's kind of stopped with the whole making friends and everything. So Gwen was really great in this movie. Two really big standouts in this film, especially for me, were Spider-Man India and Spider-Punk. Especially Spider-Punk, Daniel Kaluuya does a great job in the role, and his animation was probably some of the best in this movie, and I think it supposedly took about 2 to 3 years just to figure out his animation, and he's changing colors all the time. He has a much different texture than all the different Spider-Men in this movie, and so it's just really cool to look at, and it makes my brain fry just thinking about the time and effort and skill that it took to do it. And and I just loved his character. I think he was kind of more of a comedic character in this movie, along with Spider-Man India. Spider-Man India had a lot of great lines in this movie, and his look was also really, really great. And of course, I have to mention Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. He was so good in this movie. I freaking loved Spider-Man 2099. I was excited to see him in this movie from the time we figured he was going to be in the sequel. And he was a menace in this movie. He's not necessarily... He was an antagonist, for sure. He wasn't necessarily a full villain in this movie. I do think he will be a pretty big villain in the sequel in Beyond the Spider-Verse, along with the Spot. But he wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He was doing what he thought he had to do. It was kind of a doing the wrong thing for the right reason sort of thing with his character, and I really liked watching it unfold. Again, not going to go full into detail. I'll talk a lot more about that in my spoiler review, but I really loved Spider-Man 2099 in this movie. Oscar Isaac killed it, and I cannot wait to see more of him in Beyond the Spider-Verse. In this movie, and there are cameos that you will not expect going into this movie. Talk about that in my spoiler review, but there are a lot of great cameos in this movie, and one in particular really gets you excited for the future and kind of opens up the possibilities of what could happen in like a live-action Miles Morales movie or something like that. So, a lot of great cameos, and I enjoyed... My eyes were darting around the screen every second of this movie looking for all the cameos and different details, and it was really fun to see the different cameos in this movie. This is a movie that I truly did not want to end, and it's one of the times where this is about 20 minutes longer than Into the Spider-Verse. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and I honestly wish that it was longer. This movie could have been 3 hours long, and I still don't think it would have been enough. I caught myself several times throughout the movie actually checking my phone, looking at the time, being like, okay, I have 20 minutes left in this movie. I need to cherish these 20 minutes. Oh, there's only 10 minutes left. What's going to happen? I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want this to end. I did not want it to end because I was so engaged and so focused, and this movie just had a smile on my face the entire time because of how good and visually amazing it was. A lot of you are probably wondering about the cliffhanger in this movie because this is a part one of a two-part story, and the cliffhanger is... it's not necessarily abrupt, but it does kind of leave you in the middle. But it's not really a bad thing. It leaves off in a really good way, I think, to where the best way I can describe it is, it's like I just had dinner, I just ate a big meal, and I feel satisfied, I feel full, and then I'm almost ready for dessert, and dessert is going to be Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I'm satisfied for now, and then in 10 months I'll be ready for the second course, which is dessert, Beyond the Spider-Verse. And so the cliffhanger, it does leave in the middle, it is a cliffhanger, but it's not abrupt. It leaves me, at least personally for me, it leaves you satisfied and it leaves you full. And it just gets you more excited for what's to come. I just can't get over how good this movie is. I loved this movie, and one of the best ways that I can describe how I felt after this movie is it's like a roller coaster that you want to ride again the second it's over. It ends, and you immediately want to go hop in line again to ride it a second time. There are so many things to love about this movie. Even fans that aren't that big into Spider-Man, I think will really enjoy this movie. But if you are a big Spider-Man fan like myself, you will have a blast with this movie, and I loved it. So yeah. That is my non-spoiler review for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to check out my spoiler review on the film coming out in a couple of days, and I also have a lot more Spider-Man content coming afterward, so be excited for that. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on any of my content. It would really mean a lot to me. Share this video with your friends and family, and in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.